Breaking right now, a player for the Baltimore Ravens has tested positive for COVID-19 just a day after the team played the Pittsburgh Steelers. Marlon Humphrey tweeted, quote, "I got the Rona. Hopefully I'll be back healthy soon."
ESPN is reporting the Steelers' COVID-19 tests all came back negative. That's according to a source. Our sports team is following up on this. You can look for breaking developments later in this newscast. And more breaking news, Pittsburgh taking center stage just one day before Election Day. This is a live look from inside the Arnold Palmer Airport, where Vice President Mike Pence is holding a rally. It is just one of several big Decision 2020 events in our area today. Thanks for joining us, everyone. I'm Peggy Finnegan.
And I'm Gordon Lush. We spoke with Trump supporters who braved the cold out there in Latrobe to make sure they got to see the VP.
We're hoping for a huge red wave and a win for Trump.
I think we need President Trump in there to keep the economy hot, to keep it going.
He's a pro-life man himself, and that's why I like Trump and Mike Pence.
Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden will wrap up his campaign blitz right here in Pittsburgh.
He sure will. He's going to make a stop in Beaver County to talk with union leaders this afternoon. Then he will hold two drive-in events. First, he will meet with African-American community members in Pittsburgh, and then he will hold an event tonight at Heinz Field with his wife, Jill, and he's bringing a big headliner. Lady Gaga will also perform at the event. These details could change, so look for coverage on Channel 11 News starting at 5 and updates on the WPXI News app and WPXI.com. President Donald Trump will hold 5 rallies today in 4 battleground states. 2 of the rallies will be in Michigan, 1 in Wisconsin, 1 in North Carolina, and 1 near Scranton, Joe Biden's hometown.
Breaking now, the Pennsylvania Secretary of State just released new information on mail-in ballots. Kathy Bookbar says that more than 2.4 million mail-in ballots have been filled out and returned to their respective counties. That is 78% of all ballots mailed out. 1,596,195 of the returned ballots are registered Democrats. 555,805 are registered Republicans. She is also weighing in on reports President Trump plans to declare victory before all of the votes are counted.
It takes time for votes to be counted. Elections are never called on, they're never finished on election night. And certainly we've never had 2.5 to 3 million mail ballots to count before. So, I urge, as always, voters, press, everybody to ignore completely unsubstantiated claims that have no basis in reality.
President Trump denies the reports, but did signal Republicans will mount legal challenges to stop ballots from being counted after Election Day. And that could come into play in Beaver County. Late last week, the Beaver County Commissioner and Chair of the Board of Elections confirmed that they won't count any mail-in ballots until the day after the election. They don't have the resources. It is a small staff, between 6 and 10 people, and they want to secure the integrity of the election and not have random people doing the job.
It's a very manual process, and it's just time-consuming to do that, and then prepare those to be scanned, and then scan all those ballots.
And this is really nothing new. We're hearing about it more this year because more people are using mail-in ballots due to COVID. Even if there's a projected winner nationally, we won't know the official results for some time. That's because states actually have until December 8th, the safe harbor deadline.
The stakes are high. Boy, that's an understatement for Decision 2020. A new YouGov poll found nearly 70% of Americans feel this will be the most important election of their lifetime. The law enforcement around the state is preparing for potential unrest. Our Jacqueline Fell shows us how security is being stepped up even at the White House.
D.C.'s police chief tells me he's concerned about unrest in the district and across the country. D.C. has not requested additional help from the National Guard at this time, but the mayor says the Guard is on alert. The entire police force will be on duty Election Day and possibly days that follow. A fence is expected to be placed around the entire White House complex today. It'll be the same kind of fencing that was put up this summer during protests in Washington, D.C. Those demonstrations are fresh on some businesses' minds. Some have already boarded doors and windows, fearing civil unrest after Election Day. D.C. police say people have already applied for permits to demonstrate on Tuesday. The Secret Service will not comment on any additional security. Reporting outside Washington, Jacqueline Fell, Channel 11 News.
Several groups are offering free rides to the polls. They don't care who you vote for. They just want to make sure you do vote. Channel 11's Mike Holden has more on the push to get out the vote.
The election is tomorrow, and with absolutely no time to waste, officials are working to make sure each and every vote counts. Local organizations are stepping in and offering to give you a free ride to the polls. They say with such high voter turnout, it's crucial moving forward. It is a community call for action and a fight to make sure every voice is heard, one vote at a time. Local nonprofits are mobilizing ahead of Tuesday's highly anticipated presidential election. Community groups like the NAACP, BPEP, Take Action Mon Valley, and the Voter Empowerment Education and Enrichment Movement, or VEEM of Pittsburgh, are organizing nonpartisan rides to the polls. BPEP and VEEM are direct partners for the Rolls to the Polls initiative. Due to the pandemic, you'll now be required to wear a mask, sanitize once you hop in, and sit in the back seat for social distancing purposes. Voter turnout is expected to reach an all-time record high, and organizers say their phones have been ringing off the hook.
Our mission is to propel people to the polls no matter what, and so we realize that transportation is a huge barrier to everyone in Allegheny County, and so we're really all trying to work together to make sure that everybody can get to their polling location.
And for ways to book your ride to the polls, head over to WPXI.com as well as the WPXI News app. I'm now working to determine exactly what rideshare companies are doing to help you as well, and the deep discounts in place for Election Day, that's starting at 5. Reporting this afternoon, Mike Holden, Channel 11 News.
Thanks, Mike. And we have a special section set up on WPXI.com and on the WPXI News app where you can find your polling place. You can check your voter registration status. We also have a story on the candidates running in our area and much more. You can look for those resources right on the front page. Well, we started the day with some snow, and temperatures will struggle to get into the 40s today.
Yeah, meteorologist Danielle Dozier takes us through what to expect heading into Election Day. Danielle.
Peggy, Gordon, we had quite the snow event up to the north overnight and early this morning, which I'll share some pictures from you guys at home coming up in my full weather forecast. Out there right now, it is a cold 39 degrees. The wind is strong. It feels like 31. Right now, temperature in Greensburg is 37. Temperatures will struggle to get to the lower 40s today. I do believe we'll get there in spots, but it is going to be one of those days where you're going to want to bundle up before you head out the door. Wind chill right now in Butler is 28. It feels like 24 in Indiana. The air temperature today gets to only about 41 degrees here across the city. West winds will gust as high as about 30, perhaps 35 miles per hour, and Election Day will start out chilly as well. I'll have that complete forecast, and as I mentioned, I'll share some beautiful weather pictures from you guys from the snow coming up.
Mom came running to me. She's like, my baby's in that trailer. My baby's in there. My baby's.
A heartbreaking situation in Westmoreland County this morning. A little girl killed in a fire. The flames were too intense and the parents couldn't get to their 2-year-old. The fire broke out at a mobile home in Mount Pleasant this morning. Channel 11's Alyssa Raymond spoke with a neighbor who called for help.
This is Route 31 in Mount Pleasant. Firefighters had to come up this steep driveway to get to this mobile home fire. Neighbors here called 911 as the family was calling for help. The fire started at this mobile home on Beacon Road in Mount Pleasant around 4 this morning. A family with 2 little kids were inside. Mom, dad, and a 1-year-old little boy were able to get out safely. They couldn't get to their 2-year-old little girl, Charlie, though. She died in this fire this morning. A woman who lives next door saw the fire and heard her neighbors screaming.
So I called 911, came running out here, and I noticed that the trailer was on fire, and the mom came running to me. She's like, my baby's in that trailer. My baby's in there. My baby's in there. Rescue her, rescue her. We went close to the trailer, but Dad was trying to get her out, and she was crying. I was talking to 911, but the flames were so high, and the trailer was almost engulfed in flames, and there was smoke everywhere. And the mom was screaming, and there was nothing to do.
As for what started this fire, investigators believe it was a wood-burning stove. They're encouraging everyone to check their smoke detectors today and make sure to keep everything far away from any kind of heat source. Family's been out here looking around, just thinking about what happened this morning. We spoke with the little girl's father. Hear what he has to say and the strong, strong message he has for everyone this winter. At 5. Reporting in Mount Pleasant, Alyssa Raymond, Channel 11 News.
Just so terribly upsetting. Your heart goes out to their family.
I know, just unbelievable grief. How do you recover from that? Well, turning now to breaking news. In the past hour, the Allegheny County Health Department released an update on new coronavirus cases. It says it has learned of 264 new cases since Saturday. That is a 2-day total. The test results date back just over a week. That positivity rate now about 9.5%. October marked the pandemic's deadliest month to date in Westmoreland County. That according to state numbers and the county coroner. The death toll surpassed 100 on Friday. According to our news partners at the Trib, 47 of the deaths were in 1 month. There have been at least one death for 17 days straight in that county. An infection control consultant is being brought in at Westmoreland Manor. That facility has been experiencing an outbreak since mid-September. A third person has died. Oh, this is a different story. Sorry. A third person has died after a shooting in Pittsburgh's Allentown neighborhood. Police were called to Belts Hoover Avenue on Saturday night, and police tell us the 3 people killed were 24, 22, and 17 years old, and another 17-year-old was also hurt. Police say the shooters were among those who were killed or injured.
A woman is in custody after investigators say an argument with her boyfriend turned deadly. Police were called to Buente Street in Spring Hill early yesterday. According to the criminal complaint, Desiree Holston admitted to stabbing Derek Stanford in the chest after she claims he choked her and lunged at her during a fight. Holston is charged with homicide. A McCandless police officer is suing over alleged sexual harassment. According to the Trib, the female officer is suing the town along with the former police chief, David DeSanti, and Lieutenant Jeffrey Basil. DeSanti resigned last year during an investigation into allegations by 3 women, including the one who filed this lawsuit. The lawsuit claims the woman was also retaliated against for filing a complaint.
Clouds are clearing across part of the area. It's going to be a cold and windy afternoon. I'm looking ahead to your Election Day weather, though, when we come back.
We transport the most precious commodity of our communities.
Help wanted. The challenges local school districts are facing getting children to school.
And just like everything else, Thanksgiving will be very different this year. The steps you can take to keep you and your family safe from COVID.
Pittsburgh's Obama Academy is closed today after a second staff member there tested positive. It also impacts the district's grab-and-go meals program. You can visit the location at Pittsburgh Sunnyside to pick up meals. And the second positive case at Obama Academy comes days after the school was closed and cleaned following the first case. Both staff members wore PPE and were social distancing. Highland Elementary in the Ambridge School District is also closed today. That announcement was made yesterday after a staff member tested positive. All classes will be virtual until further notice. And the Deer Lakes School District is moving forward with in-person learning despite another case of COVID-19. A high school student and 3 staff members tested positive in the past month. Students will be able to return to school full-time starting next month. Virtual learning, though, will still be available.
6 more states have been added to Pennsylvania's travel advisory list. There are now 31 states on the list. The new states just added include Colorado, Louisiana, and Michigan, New Mexico, Rhode Island, and Texas. If you recently traveled to any of these states, you're asked to stay at home for 14 days when you return. If you need to check the list, we have it for you on the WPXI News app. Thanksgiving is right around the corner, but just like everything else this year, celebrations will be very different. And as Britt Conway reports, as 37 states watch their COVID-19 case count go up, experts worry the holiday could make things even worse.
Thanksgiving is a time we bring all the family together.
But things are different this year. COVID-19 cases are spiking around the country. And Aaron Bromage, a biology professor at the University of Massachusetts Dartmouth, says he's worried. What we love about Thanksgiving, being together, is what makes it so risky.
That's exactly what is needed for it to jump from the people that get infected but not overly sick to the people that get it and end up with really poor outcomes.
Former FDA Commissioner Dr. Scott Gottlieb agrees.
I think Thanksgiving is really going to be an inflection point. I think December is probably going to be our toughest month. But when you look at what's happening in states right now, you're seeing accelerating spread. We're right at the beginning of what looks like exponential growth in a lot of states.
I don't think it's as simple as just saying I'm going ahead with it, but I also know people probably will.
If that's the case, plan ahead.
Make sure that all the interactions you've got in that week leading up to it are very low risk, so the chance of you being infected are low.
Other things to consider: who needs to travel and from where? Can you gather outside or open a window? Can people from different households stay at least 6 feet apart? But if any of your loved ones are high risk,
really think about, changing those plans to not having it.
Because a Thanksgiving without COVID-19 is something to be thankful for. I'm Britt Conway reporting.
And looking ahead, the Pittsburgh Catholic Diocese is adding Christmas Eve masses this year. We're told they could start as early as 2 in the afternoon, December 24th, to spread out everyone who wants to go. You will also have the option to watch online.
Your severe winter Team 11 forecast.
Well, good afternoon. We had quite the snow event up along the I-80 corridor, some of our northern counties. And if you were watching all weekend long, I was letting you know that I thought that a heavy lake effect snow band would move through Venango County. But what was even more impressive was just how much snow that band produced. This picture coming in today from Dana, and she's up in Franklin. She picked up almost 8 inches of snow, and this was her view in her yard of all of that snow. Tons of snow up there, so thanks to Dana for sending in her picture. And this picture from Renee in Newcastle, she said she got about 3 inches. You can see a little bit of it there covering her pumpkin. So quite an incredible event we had from just, again, that moisture coming in off the lake, Lake Erie. This is a look at some of those snowfall reports. A whopping 12 inches. That is a foot of snow up in Cooperstown, and that is in Venango County. Newcastle, 3 inches. Then, of course, as expected, the totals really dropped off as you made your way south toward the Pittsburgh area. You can see Ohioville, 1.8 inches. That's Beaver County. And then we had a report of Glendale picking up an inch in Allegheny County, and then an inch in Mars up in Butler County. Thanks to all of you for your pictures. I'm going to have more coming up in the next half hour to share with you. Temperatures are chilly out there. It's windy. Tonight, we are expecting to see those temperatures cool off into the mid-30s. for your evening plans, but it will be dry as the clouds clear out. The snow has already departed the area, so you'll need to bundle up before heading out this evening. Overnight tonight will bottom out near 32 degrees. I think that's into tomorrow morning, though. The gusts overnight about 25 miles per hour under a mostly clear sky. Election day weather itself, it will be chilly out there in the morning, so if you're heading to the polls early, make sure you have your coats on. In the afternoon, though, the good news about it is it's going to be warmer than what we've had over the last couple of days, looking at a high temperature close to 52. And while we may have a few fair weather clouds out there early in the day, I do expect plenty of sunshine as we work our way through the afternoon. So get outside and vote, right? Take a look at our temperatures across the rest of the area. You can see 54 in Washington, 53 in Greensburg. These temperatures are actually still a little bit below average, but much improved again from where we are standing today. 5-day forecast, your weekend always in view. And as we go forward, we have an even bigger warming trend on the way. We're looking at highs in the mid 60s as we head into Friday. And your weekend, if you have any outdoor plans, we're looking at 68 on Saturday with plenty of sunshine. Temperature up to near 70 degrees on Sunday with a mix of sun and clouds. Again, in the next half hour, we'll take a closer look at some more pictures that you guys have been sharing with me of the snow, and I have a look at the national weather for Election Day, in case you're curious about that. Stick with us.
All right, thanks, Danielle. Vandals target 3 local candidates, 1 Republican, 2 Democrats. The message spray painted on their offices and homes.
And doctors urged teens to stop the Benadryl challenge. That was months ago, but they're still taking the dangerous dare. The new warnings next. A new warning today. Some teens and children are still overdosing on Benadryl as part of a dangerous TikTok challenge.
And the social media platform has pledged to remove the videos. Haley Hernandez has more from doctors warning parents about ways to recognize if your child is doing this.
The FDA issued a warning for Benadryl, saying it's seeing serious problems with high doses of the medication. Particularly, they say teenagers are ending up in hospital emergency rooms or dying. Memorial Hermann pediatrician Victoria Regan says,
they can be very groggy and difficult to wake, or they can actually be really irritable and hyper with it, and just be not their normal personality. It can affect heart rate, breathing rate, and such as the doses get too high.
The warning started after a viral challenge on TikTok encouraged viewers to take excessive doses of Benadryl to induce hallucinations. The incidents prompted Johnson & Johnson, the maker of Benadryl, to issue its own warning, saying this: it is a dangerous trend and should be stopped immediately.
Yeah, it's one of those drugs that we just don't want. Any over-the-counter drug, but this one in particular, we're really seeing some harmful side effects from people taking too much of it.
Here are the ways you can spot your child has had too much. In mild cases, side effects include sleepiness, dry mouth, constipation. In severe cases, you may experience delirium, psychosis, seizures, or a coma.
Doctors say this is just another reminder that parents should be consistently monitoring their children's social media habits. It's not about limiting their privacy, it's about protecting their lives.
Help wanted, there's a school bus driver shortage. What districts are doing to make sure students get to where they need to go.
And standing guard at polling places, the role police will take on Election Day. Three local candidates are campaigning and cleaning up today after they were targeted by vandalism.
The candidates woke up to find messages over the weekend. We spotted this message on U.S. Rep. Connor Lamb's office in Mount Lebanon. "Don't vote, fight for revolution." And over the weekend, the same message was spray painted on the front office windows of Democratic Congressman Mike Doyle and the garage door of the home of Sean Parnell, a Republican running for office. The phrase spray painted in red reads, "Elections no, revolution yes," with an image of a hammer and sickle.
I don't want people to wake up on November 4th and wonder if this type of violence or vandalism might come to their communities. And so part of my job, I think, as a servant leader is always to place myself between radicals who would do damage to communities like this and make sure that we're doing everything that we can to protect them.
Parnell said both parties need to condemn this kind of vandalism and potential violence.
Police are on alert for a number of potential issues that could come up tomorrow and the days ahead. Everything from voter intimidation to violence and protests. Don't be surprised if you notice extra law enforcement around polling places tomorrow. The Allegheny County Sheriff's Office says more deputies will be working 12-hour shifts on Election Day. They're working with the Allegheny Board of Elections to make sure people feel safe and secure.
I'm glad that the Allegheny County Sheriff's Office is going to have additional deputies on the ready, at standby, but their presence at polling places should be discreet. Pennsylvania law says that law enforcement officers must be at least 100 feet away from the polling place. And I would remind people that the polling place is not the building where you vote, it's the room where you vote.
Talk of potential voter intimidation is a concern. Here's a look at some forms of intimidation. Aggressive behavior, blocking an entrance, photographing or videoing voters, and asking for documentation when none is required. You can call the Election Protection Coalition if you experience or see voter intimidation, and we have their phone number on WPXI.com.
Living through the pandemic has been stressful for almost everyone. Add to that a polarizing presidential election, and you really have a recipe for anxiety. NBC's Dan Scheneman tells us what people are feeling is real and says there's a name for it.
And I'm scared. My stomach hurts every day. I have insomnia, never had it in my life. For this election.
Eric Roman is one of millions of Americans that are experiencing what experts have dubbed election stress disorder. Cleveland Clinic psychologist Adam Borland says the level of contention in this election isn't helping, causing feelings of anxiety, tension, and a lack of control.
I'm seeing a tremendous amount of people dealing with stress, anxiety, panic-type symptoms as the election gets closer.
According to a recent survey by the American Psychological Association, 68% of respondents say the election is a significant source of stress.
One of the most important things is to manage your media consumption.
I think it's really important to take a step away from those sources of political stress and find other healthy activities to engage in.
I had to pull back. Backspace is my friend now.
Eric's strong opinions on social media ended lifelong friendships.
Now, I can tell you right now that I've lost friends, lifetime friends, over just me calling them out a little bit.
Roman isn't alone. 40% of Americans say they don't have a close friend that supports an opposing candidate.
You don't necessarily have to distance yourself from everybody who has a different political view, but in this moment in time, you might decide it's just not worth it.
To relieve some stress, just agree to disagree. Dan Scheneman, NBC News.
Some places woke up to inches of snow this morning. Today, windy out there and chilly.
Meteorologist Danielle Dozier has the forecast now in Severe Weather Center 11. Danielle.
Hi guys, yeah, it's definitely a change of scenery out there from late last night when we picked up quite a bit of snow up to the north. In Pittsburgh and a lot of Allegheny County, we only picked up to about a ½ an inch of dusting I saw on a lot of grassy surfaces. There were some areas that had 1 inch. I know Glendale picked up an inch in Allegheny County, but I wanted to share some pictures, some more pictures coming in from you guys. This one from Kathy out in Knox. So she's up really close to the I-80 corridor and she had a couple of inches up in that area. And then this picture actually just came in to me from Dan King. He's up in Seneca which is Venango County, and that was certainly the bullseye for the heavy snow. You can see there in that area picked up about 8 inches of snow in Seneca. So incredible lake effect snow event when you pull off that moisture from the lake and you've got that cold air blowing over the warmer lake water. It sets up those bands, which can drop some really heavy snow totals, which is exactly what we saw. Well, today it's going to be chilly. Temperatures only in the lower 40s this afternoon with those windy conditions continuing. Coming up, we'll take a closer look at not only your local election forecast if you're just joining us, but I've also got to look at what the weather will be like across the nation on Tuesday.
If you're out of work, there's a profession that will hire you right now. There is a desperate need for school bus drivers. Channel 11's Jennifer Tomazik learned bus companies are at a critical point.
From ads stretching the length of a school bus looking for drivers in the Baldwin-Whitehall School District to a front page post on the Bethel Park School District's website. The school bus driver shortage is a huge problem in western Pennsylvania. Districts and bus companies are stretching their current drivers to fill the gaps in getting kids to school on time.
We transport the most precious commodity of our communities.
John Risch of WL Roenick School Bus Company says some drivers aren't working because of COVID, but that's not the only reason for the driver shortage.
People may have a misconception of what it is to be a school bus driver, and they just don't want to deal with it.
It's a great job. One that worked for Dorothy Harold back in 1999 when her 3 kids were young.
We have weekends off, holidays off, snow days off. It worked perfect for me. I didn't have to do extra for daycare because my children were in school.
Even though they're older now, she's still doing it because she loves the kids on her bus.
Really get attached to these children.
This is actually considered a 72-passenger bus.
On a ride with Dorothy, John told me even with the shortage and some districts mandating strict social distancing on the bus, they're making the routes work and adjusting weekly if they need to. Do you ever find yourself ever being in the situation where you're just going to have to tell the districts, I don't have a driver to take these kids because I don't have a driver?
It could happen.
And John told Jennifer they are able to plan enough in advance with the districts, but they are worried about the future. He admits the process of getting a CDL license to drive the bus might be intimidating, but his company has made some plans to get drivers working ASAP during that process. And we have that information for you on WPXI.com.
Several local universities are letting faculty members go. At IUP alone, 81 staffers have been told they may lose their jobs at the end of the academic year. Those aren't the only changes. The university says they could ultimately see as many as 128 job cuts. It comes after the university announced it will close 5 fine arts programs, including journalism and public relations.
I'm afraid to see what's going to happen to the town if we lose all this faculty and lose these students that are allegedly going to be moving on.
The other schools planning cutbacks include Edinburgh. It plans to lay off 21 faculty members, and California and Clarion universities have both warned of possible cuts.
More people are taking the bus. The glimmer of hope as the Port Authority looks to get more people on board.
And shoppers are stocking up on essential supplies again in case things take a turn again. Why experts say there's no need to panic.
An off-duty highway patrol trooper stopped a suspected drunken driver while dressed like a Star Wars stormtrooper. The Nevada trooper was on her way home from a Halloween party when she saw a car trying to get on the highway going the wrong way. The trooper stopped the car in time and called for backup. With COVID surging, there is renewed concern about supplies of essential goods. 57% of shoppers surveyed say they are stocking up on supplies, but experts say don't panic. Stores and food manufacturers are much better equipped to deal with demand. Experts say the key to getting what you need is make a list now and plan ahead. Don't hoard, buy what you need early. Demand for holiday groceries is expected to peak in the 2 weeks before Thanksgiving.
The Allegheny County Port Authority says it's starting to see more riders. According to our partners at the Pittsburgh Business Times, ridership levels are slowly climbing. Before the pandemic, they saw about 200,000 bus rides per day. Now the average is about 60,000, which is a big improvement from the start of the pandemic. The loss of riders has certainly hurt the Port Authority's revenue, though. No service cuts have been made yet, though changes are coming later this month. Airlines are resorting to a new strategy to navigate the collapse in travel. They're giving seats away. The Wall Street Journal reports Alaska Air ran sales this summer, offering an entire row for the price of one ticket, while European carrier Ryanair offered 2-for-1 specials. The deals are aimed at drumming up demand and to keep some cash coming in as airlines are keeping much of their fleets parked.
It's the second time that happened. They fixed it last year and it sunk again.
A local street is sinking, and it's not the first time. The answers we got for neighbors and why a permanent fix will take some time.
When you started thinking again, what went through your mind?
Here we go again, because I knew it was going to be a big hole.
Part of this Penn Hills street is collapsing, and it's getting so bad, cars are driving through yards to avoid the hole. Channel 11's Liz Kilmer went to Southern Avenue to see for herself, and after taking neighbors' concerns to the township, officials are taking action.
Folks on this Penn Hills block, they're dealing with a pretty big problem. Literally, you can see here this massive sinkhole practically spanning across the entire street. Now, I spoke with leaders here in Penn Hills. They say they are aware of the problem and they're doing everything they can to get it taken care of as quickly as possible.
This is crazy. Because, I mean, it's sinking right there. It's really bad.
Neighbors like Wilbur Hart are tired of seeing this, a major sinkhole expanding outside their Penn Hills homes.
It's upsetting. You pay taxes, and this is what you get.
Surrounded by signs and caution tape, the hole has Southern Ave blocked off here. Although Wilbur says people move the signs and drive up onto his grass.
They're ruining my front yard, and when they try to go around, they're going up on my lawn.
And it's not the first time neighbors have dealt with this hole. It was fixed before, but reappeared. We took their concerns to the municipal building to figure out what's going on.
We had made repairs there about a year ago, and obviously they failed. We did spend a considerable amount of money to make repairs to that storm line, and that's actually what is causing it. It's a collapsed sewer line.
And figuring out a permanent fix is going to take time and money. Municipal manager Scott Andrachek says they're dedicated to getting it done and the right way this time around.
We have to look at a more long-term solution to the problem. And right now, that's what we're doing. We're working with our engineer.
He says he can't provide a timeline just yet. Folks hope it happens soon, but aren't holding their breath.
This is not going to get done no time soon. And you can see how deep that hole is.
In Penn Hills, I'm Liz Kilmer, Channel 11 News.
City of Pittsburgh is handing out recycling bins to neighbors today. This is the first phase of their bin distribution and will cover the Garfield, Highland Park, and East Liberty neighborhoods. They plan to hand out 5,500 bins over 10 days.
Your severe weather Team 11 forecast.
Well, good afternoon. After a snowy night last night and some snow showers out there this morning, we are clearing out the clouds and a look over the city and Heinz Field. It looks like after a great Steelers win, by the way, we are seeing some sunshine. Temperature up close to 40, not quite there just yet. The wind is still a little bit breezy. You can see those trees shaking, the west wind right around 13 miles per hour. Taking a look at our temperatures across the rest of the board, we've got 42 in Beaver, 38 Washington, 37 in Greensburg. Just a cold afternoon here. We're looking at those winds still strong, gusting to 29 in the Greensburg area, 20 Butler, and a 26 mile per hour wind gust in Washington. Well, that makes it feel like 28 in Washington right now. So if you're heading out anytime soon, maybe you're going to grab some lunch, certainly need to bundle up with the layers because the wind will be strong throughout the afternoon and it'll make it feel even colder, most likely wind chills in the lower 30s throughout the afternoon. Temperatures will be in the lower 40s across the area today. We are looking at that sunshine, and if you're out walking the dog, I mentioned it's still going to be cold and windy. As far as tomorrow goes, the temperatures hover in the mid-30s overnight tonight into early tomorrow morning. May see them fall close to freezing. Aside from a few fair weather cumulus clouds in the morning, the afternoon promises plenty of sunshine, and we're in for a milder afternoon. Temperatures still below average in the lower 50s, but much better than today. The good news about Election Day as well is the wind will be a lot lighter. Those winds are expected to be right around 5 to 10 miles per hour. So despite a chilly start, we're already in the upper 40s at noon, and we'll top out with a high temperature near 52 degrees in Pittsburgh. 51 in Butler for Election Day Tuesday, 52 in Indiana, about 53 degrees out in the Greensburg area. I've been looking at a lot of model data and forecasting the weather for the nation all weekend long. This is the latest I have for you here today. Much of the country actually looks dry. How about that in early November? You don't see that too often. Looks like we could have some late snow showers passing through northern New England, exiting the area throughout the morning, and then some rain building in the Pacific Northwest. But I mean, look at that, a good chunk of the country with dry conditions. My 5-day forecast with your weekend always in view, and we have a warm-up for you. The temperature will get close to low 60s on Wednesday with plenty of sunshine. A little wave of energy moves through on Thursday. There's not a whole lot of moisture with it, but I do expect the cloud cover to pick up a little bit across the area then. We're still mild at 64. Your overnight lows will be coming up into the mid-40s. And if you have any weekend plans, Friday is 65 and sunny. And Saturday is equally as sunny the way it looks right now. The temperature will climb close to 68. We'll only be at 50 degrees into Sunday morning, a far cry from where we're at right now. The afternoon temperature on Sunday at 70, but just unbelievable to go from lake effect snow, temperature at 30 degrees this morning as forecast, all the way to near 70 as we head into the latter half of the weekend.
Here's your local steals and deals.
Hey, Lisa Robertson here with Local Steals and Deals, and oh my gosh, you are going to want to hear this. This is the Clean Light Air. I love this, and right now I'm just thinking of how many I'm going to get, so here's why. This little device can clean a room up to 160 square feet. What do I mean by clean? I mean this cleans the air. There's a HEPA filter in here. It's a HEP 13 HEPA filter that cleans the air 360 degrees around. It actually takes 99% of the particles out of the air. Particles as small as smoke and dust and pet dander and pollen and all of VOCs and all those things nobody wants to be breathing in, takes them out, right? But then there's more, because after it goes through the HEPA filter, it goes through a UVC LED light that kills, wait for it, 99.99% of the bacteria and germs. Takes out 99% of the bad particles and then kills 99.99% of the bacteria and germs. So this is one where I think, wait a minute. Number one, I want one of these, and I want one in my kitchen. That's where I tend to spend my time. I want one that I can take with me in the car when I'm riding around. I want one that can be, in the office when I'm working. This is something I was thinking, wait a minute. I have a niece who's going to be going off to college. I really want to get her one of these for her dorm room. I have a nephew who's studying at home. I want to get one of these for him for one in his bedroom when he's in there studying all the time. I want to get one of these for my dad. He and his wife are home all the time. This is a time when we're all trying to do those basic common sense things to make ourselves safer, make our families safer, make the people we love safer. Isn't it amazing that it can be as small and simple as this is? Oh, it even works for aromatherapy. You can use essential oils, make the air smell great, and charge your cell phone while you're using it. All of this is 25% off on localsteals.com. I wish I had more time because, oh my gosh, is it amazing. But trust when I tell you, you're going to want a lot of them. I know I do.
A 10-year-old German Shepherd is back to walking after engineering students at Robert Morris University designed a wheelchair for him. This is Dakota. He belongs to a professor at RMU. The students made a crane and a wheelchair. Dakota started losing control of his back legs. His owner needed help lifting the 90-pound dog into the car.
Great work there. The EQT Pittsburgh 10 miler is underway. The event is virtual this year. The race usually draws close to 4,000 runners to Pittsburgh. You have the entire month to run the race anywhere you want, and you can still register online.
7 and 10 holiday shoppers plan to make the most of their purchases online this year, significantly up from last year. According to a new report from Bankrate, 91% of adults put their personal data at risk with 2 common mistakes. Experts urge online shoppers to diversify their passwords and never save payment information. All right, Play-Doh is not just for kids anymore. Hasbro has introduced a new line. It's designed for grown-ups, and the Play-Doh has some grown-up scents. The 6-pack comes with overpriced latte, that has a coffee smell, mom jeans, smells like denim, whatever that smell is, a Grill King with a smoked meat smell, dad sneakers, smells like rubber, Spa Day with a floral smell, and Lord of the Lawn with a fresh cut grass scent. I don't know.
I guess it'd be kind of a funny gag gift for somebody for Christmas.
Yeah. Sounds a little strange. That's all for Channel 11 News at noon. Our next newscast is tonight at 5.
You can get breaking news updates anytime at our streaming apps. Just search WPXI at Apple TV, Roku, or Amazon Fire. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.
News starts with breaking news.
Breaking right now, a player for the Baltimore Ravens has tested positive for COVID-19 just a day after the team played the Pittsburgh Steelers. Marlon Humphrey tweeted, quote, "I got the Rona. Hopefully I'll be back healthy soon."
ESPN is reporting the Steelers' COVID-19 tests all came back negative. That's according to a source. Our sports team is following up on this. You can look for breaking developments later in this newscast. And more breaking news, Pittsburgh taking center stage just one day before Election Day. This is a live look from inside the Arnold Palmer Airport, where Vice President Mike Pence is holding a rally. It is just one of several big Decision 2020 events in our area today. Thanks for joining us, everyone. I'm Peggy Finnegan.
And I'm Gordon Lush. We spoke with Trump supporters who braved the cold out there in Latrobe to make sure they got to see the VP.
We're hoping for a huge red wave and a win for Trump.
I think we need President Trump in there to keep the economy hot, to keep it going.
He's a pro-life man himself, and that's why I like Trump and Mike Pence.
Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden will wrap up his campaign blitz right here in Pittsburgh.
He sure will. He's going to make a stop in Beaver County to talk with union leaders this afternoon. Then he will hold two drive-in events. First, he will meet with African-American community members in Pittsburgh, and then he will hold an event tonight at Heinz Field with his wife, Jill, and he's bringing a big headliner. Lady Gaga will also perform at the event. These details could change, so look for coverage on Channel 11 News starting at 5 and updates on the WPXI News app and WPXI.com. President Donald Trump will hold 5 rallies today in 4 battleground states. 2 of the rallies will be in Michigan, 1 in Wisconsin, 1 in North Carolina, and 1 near Scranton, Joe Biden's hometown.
Breaking now, the Pennsylvania Secretary of State just released new information on mail-in ballots. Kathy Bookbar says that more than 2.4 million mail-in ballots have been filled out and returned to their respective counties. That is 78% of all ballots mailed out. 1,596,195 of the returned ballots are registered Democrats. 555,805 are registered Republicans. She is also weighing in on reports President Trump plans to declare victory before all of the votes are counted.
It takes time for votes to be counted. Elections are never called on, they're never finished on election night. And certainly we've never had 2.5 to 3 million mail ballots to count before. So, I urge, as always, voters, press, everybody to ignore completely unsubstantiated claims that have no basis in reality.
President Trump denies the reports, but did signal Republicans will mount legal challenges to stop ballots from being counted after Election Day. And that could come into play in Beaver County. Late last week, the Beaver County Commissioner and Chair of the Board of Elections confirmed that they won't count any mail-in ballots until the day after the election. They don't have the resources. It is a small staff, between 6 and 10 people, and they want to secure the integrity of the election and not have random people doing the job.
It's a very manual process, and it's just time consuming to do that and then prepare those to be scanned and then scan all those ballots.
And this is really nothing new. We're hearing about it more this year because more people are using mail-in ballots due to COVID. Even if there's a projected winner nationally, we won't know the official results for some time. That's because states actually have until December 8th, the safe harbor deadline.
The stakes are high. Boy, that's an understatement for Decision 2020. A new YouGov poll found nearly 70% of Americans feel this will be the most important election of their lifetime. The law enforcement around the state is preparing for potential unrest. Our Jacqueline Fell shows us how security is being stepped up even at the White House.
D.C.'s police chief tells me he's concerned about unrest in the district and across the country. D.C. has not requested additional help from the National Guard at this time, but the mayor says the Guard is on alert. The entire police force will be on duty Election Day and possibly days that follow. A fence is expected to be placed around the entire White House complex today. It'll be the same kind of fencing that was put up this summer during protests in Washington, D.C. Those demonstrations are fresh on some businesses' minds. Some have already boarded doors and windows fearing civil unrest after Election Day. D.C. police say people have already applied for permits to demonstrate on Tuesday. The Secret Service will not comment on any additional security. Reporting outside Washington, Jacqueline Fell, Channel 11 News.
Several groups are offering free rides to the polls. They don't care who you vote for. They just want to make sure you do vote. Channel 11's Mike Holden has more on the push to get out the vote.
The election is tomorrow, and with absolutely no time to waste, officials are working to make sure each and every vote counts. Local organizations are stepping in and offering to give you a free ride to the polls. They say with such high voter turnout, it's crucial moving forward. It is a community call for action and a fight to make sure every voice is heard, one vote at a time. Local nonprofits are mobilizing ahead of Tuesday's highly anticipated presidential election. Community groups like the NAACP, BPEP, Take Action Mon Valley, and the Voter Empowerment Education and Enrichment Movement, or VEEM of Pittsburgh, are organizing nonpartisan rides to the polls. BPEP and VEEM are direct partners for the Rolls to the Polls initiative. Due to the pandemic, you'll now be required to wear a mask, sanitize once you hop in, and sit in the back seat for social distancing purposes. Voter turnout is expected to reach an all-time record high, and organizers say their phones have been ringing off the hook.
Our mission is to propel people to the polls, no matter what, and so we realize that transportation is a huge barrier to everyone in Allegheny County, and so we're really all trying to work together to make sure that everybody can get to their polling location.
And for ways to book your ride to the polls, head over to WPXI.com.